The United States government just forced one of the most powerful AI companies in the world to shut off its flagship models overnight with a single order. No warning, no phase-out period, just off. And Anthropic, the company valued at $380 billion and heading toward a historic IPO, had no choice but to comply within hours. This is not a drill. This is the new reality of AI investing. Welcome back to AI Assets, the channel where we break down the biggest and most important stories in AI and tech investing every single day. Today, we are covering 3 events that happened within 72 hours of each other, all connected to one company, Anthropic. And together, they paint a picture that every serious AI investor needs to understand right now. Let us start with the story that broke first. On June 10th, The Verge published a hands-on review of Claude Fable 5, Anthropic's most advanced AI model to date. And the findings were stunning, not because the model was too dangerous, but because it was too scared to do anything at all. Reporters and testers found that Claude Fable 5 refused to answer basic biology questions. Not questions about bioweapons, not questions about dangerous pathogens, questions about cell membranes, questions about mitochondria, standard high school textbook material that any student could find in 10 seconds on Wikipedia. The model also blocked routine cybersecurity queries that developers and researchers rely on every single day. Legitimate, professional, completely legal questions. Refused. Anthropic's own documentation acknowledged that the safety filters in Fable 5 are intentionally set to be, in their words, overly conservative. The logic is that in an era of increasing AI risk, it is better to block too much than too little. The problem is that when a model becomes too restricted to be useful, it stops being a product. It becomes a liability. Users reacted with frustration. Developers started switching to competitors. And the story was picked up by every major tech publication within 48 hours. Then came Friday evening, June 12, 2026. The Trump administration issued a direct order to Anthropic. Under new national security guidelines designed to limit foreign access to the most advanced American AI models, the U.S. government ordered Anthropic to immediately disable Claude Fable 5 and Mythos 5 for all users, not just foreign customers, but every single user globally, to ensure full compliance. Anthropic released a statement that same evening. The exact words were, "The net effect of this order is that we must abruptly disable Fable 5 and Mythos 5 for all our customers to ensure compliance." Read that again. All customers, not some. All. Within hours, 2 of the most powerful AI models ever built were simply switched off. Businesses that had integrated Fable 5 into their workflows woke up to dead API calls. Developers hit walls. Enterprise contracts became worthless overnight. And this happened on the same week Anthropic had filed confidential IPO documents with the SEC. Now let us get into what this means for investors, because this is where the real story starts. Anthropic is planning to go public. It is valued at $380 billion. It recently closed a $30 billion funding round. By all measures, it is one of the most valuable private companies in the world, and its IPO is expected to be one of the biggest tech listings of 2026. But what Friday night revealed is something that no IPO prospectus has ever had to address before. The United States government can, at any moment, order you to turn off your core product. Not regulate it, not restrict new sales, turn it off immediately, globally. That is not a regulatory risk. That is an existential operational risk. And it affects every AI company building frontier models, not just Anthropic. Think about what this means for Microsoft, which has billions of dollars tied up in OpenAI. Think about Google's Gemini Ultra. Think about Meta's most advanced Llama models. Every single one of these companies is now operating with an invisible off switch that the federal government holds. For investors, the question is no longer just about revenue growth or market share. The question is now, what is the political risk premium you need to build into every AI investment? Here is what the market is missing, and this is the angle almost no one is talking about. The mainstream narrative around this story is about safety versus utility. That is an interesting debate, but it is the wrong lens for investors. The real story is about sovereignty and infrastructure control. This is the first time in modern history that the US government has not just restricted the export of AI hardware, chips, servers, equipment, but has directly controlled access to AI software running on American servers for American customers. That is a completely new kind of power, and it has enormous implications for every company building or investing in AI infrastructure. Here is the opportunity hidden inside the risk. This government action creates a massive tailwind for open-source AI models. If proprietary frontier models can be switched off overnight by executive order, enterprises will start hedging with open-source alternatives that they can run on their own hardware, in their own data centers, under their own control. Companies like Meta, which has been aggressively open-sourcing its Llama model series, could become the unexpected beneficiary of this regulatory environment. If enterprises start demanding AI that governments cannot turn off, open source wins. And that reshuffles the competitive landscape significantly. So what happens next? Here are the concrete things to watch over the coming weeks and months. First, watch Anthropic's IPO timeline. Before Friday's order, the IPO was expected in late 2026. Now, there is serious uncertainty. Will Anthropic delay the listing while it navigates the political fallout? Will it adjust its valuation downward to reflect the new risk profile? Any movement on the IPO timeline will be a major market signal. Second, watch for congressional hearings. Within days of the shutdown order, at least 3 U.S. senators publicly called for hearings on executive overreach in AI regulation. That process, if it moves forward, could either reassert limits on government power over AI companies, or it could result in formal legislation that makes the shutdown authority permanent and legally codified. Both outcomes reshape the investment thesis for the entire sector. Third, watch the enterprise migration signals. If major corporations start publicly announcing that they are diversifying away from Anthropic or any single AI provider following this incident, that will confirm the open-source hedge thesis. Look for earnings calls in July and August, where technology leaders mention AI provider diversification as part of their risk management strategy. Smart positioning right now means 2 things. First, reduce concentration risk in any single AI software company. The lesson of this week is that concentration in frontier proprietary AI carries government intervention risk that was not on anyone's radar 6 months ago. Second, increase attention to open-source AI infrastructure plays, companies providing the compute, tooling, and deployment platforms for self-hosted models could see significant demand growth as enterprises respond to this new reality. What happened this week with Anthropic is a turning point, not just for one company, for the entire AI investment landscape. The rules just changed, the risks just expanded, and the opportunities just shifted in ways most investors have not processed yet. AI Assets is here to make sure you are ahead of that curve, not behind it. If you are not subscribed yet, now is the time. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that could move your portfolio. And leave a comment below. Do you think the US government should have the power to shut down AI models overnight? Or does this cross a line that puts American AI companies at a permanent competitive disadvantage? I want to hear your take. That is all for today. See you in the next one.